Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Otaku Oasis podcast. My name is Matthew, and I'm here with
Joshua. We haven't done this in a while, but
we
are
got one other
covering.
person.
I'm always left out.
I made sure to put you
All
in
right,
there.
Sorry.
and it's also Anne who is always left out.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go on ahead with it.
Okay.
No, but sorry, just getting back into it. So we're back covering One Piece after kind of a long hiatus. This is at least hopefully in the hopes that we get some new news at the time of recording announced for the live action series next week.
Yes.
But this time we're covering the climax of the East Blue Saga, basically, the Arlong Park arc, which covers chapters 69 to 95 in the manga and covers episodes 31 to 44.
Yes.
So,
That all sounds right.
getting into it, what are your overall thoughts on this arc?
I think this is probably one of the best ones we've had so far.
Yeah,
I like Nami's turnaround.
Yes, I do like Nami actually becoming a character that is enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that she wasn't, it's just
I
getting her all of her backstory
Yeah,
and whatnot.
it really helps her character.
It helps her character.
I was not a huge fan of her before.
Because, I mean, even just going back to her introduction, she says one line that is very much pivotal to understanding why everything is, like, in this arc. And it's when she's first introduced to Luffy, she says the line, "I hate pirates, but I love tangerines and money."
Oh, yeah, I don't even remember her. I don't know. I knew that her big thing was she hated pirates, but I didn't remember the tangerine part.
Yeah, no, that tangerine part and the money part, I mean, obviously the money part, you
yeah.
can understand a lot more now.
Yeah.
But also the tangerine
No,
part.
actually has a reason for it.
Yeah. No, it's, honestly, this arc is basically, this is the point where it's like, if you are not into One Piece, this is the part where it's like, if you aren't a fan, you can drop off here.
Yeah.
Because this is the true, like, most people consider this the true arc that shows all of One Piece's strengths.
Yeah.
After that, it's downhill from there.
Yeah, if you don't like this, then good luck.
Yeah, no, it's actually all uphill from here if you do. But regardless, anything in particular that stood out to you, or?
I don't know. Like going into this arc, I really did not like Nami as a character. I don't know why. I mean, granted, it has been months since I've last watched One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just was not a huge fan of her character. But having a backstory now, kind of explaining why she's the way she is, makes her a better character to me. I don't know.
Bearable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, getting into it, so this arc's, like, so there's definitely, like, the pretty easy to talk about, like, setup portion, so it's like, you know, setup of the fishmen. What do you think of the fishmen as, like, as a race in the One Piece world?
Hey, Arlong just sucks. Everything else, I don't know.
Racist.
Just specious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any more that are coming up that are going to be just like that?
I'll just say from here that the fishmen get a lot more complex.
They're not. Oh, they're just gonna stick around.
Oh, of course they're going to stick around.
It's a race in the One Piece world. It's gonna be there. But
I don't know. Sometimes you get those one-off things where they'll just never mention it again.
I'm talking about like other races that are just as racist.
I'll say this now. Anything you see in One Piece,
It's gonna come back.
It's going to come back.
Most likely, like about near everything will come around.
Alright.
I won't get into specifics, but I'll just say
Spoiler.
it's important to pay attention to a lot of things in One Piece. This is why
Alright.
there's a lot of things that I delve into and ask certain questions.
No, that makes sense.
But also in like Luffy, Sanji, and Yosaku's way to Arlong Park, we get a bit of an important talk that actually helps set up like practically what is going to be the main line of antagonists for this like first half of the story, and that's the Seven Warlords, which we got introduced to one of them back in the Baratier. Do you remember which one?
Oh yeah, it was the sword guy. No, I know his name. It is Hawkeye Mihawk.
Yes.
Right? Is that actually it?
Dracula Mihawk, but you got his like epithet is Hawkeye Mihawk. So yes, you got it.
Alright, cool.
If you want to just keep it simple, most people just call him Mihawk.
Alright.
But yeah, because he's the world's greatest swordsman and Zoro's eventual final rival at some point.
Yeah.
How
much time has passed since Baratier? It's like a day? Cause...
yeah, this is the thing with One Piece, and it gets really hard to track later on. But basically, the in-between times it takes to get from one place to another is never explained.
Yeah.
Most times, people will estimate probably, let's just say, give or take a few days to like a week to 2 weeks or so for traveling time. That's just the ballpark estimate that we give it, just because it's actual sailing, so
yeah,
it's gonna take some time. But since we're in the East Blue and islands are, I'd say, relatively close, it's probably only like a few days or so.
Alright.
So like the amount of time that Zoro and Usopp have been on like Arlong Park hasn't been all that long by the time Luffy and Sanji arrive.
Alright, I think I need a refresher. Why did they go in separate groups?
Zoro and Usopp went on ahead because Luffy was trying to A, recruit Sanji, but B, also dealing with Don Krieg and the problem at the Baratier.
Alright, and then did the other two guys go? Who's the other two?
Johnny and Yosaku went with them, though Yosaku reappeared at the end of Baratier, basically letting Luffy and Sanji know the situation to help transition into the next arc.
Alright.
But yeah, so basically, for like Zoro and Usopp's side, we basically see like Usopp basically cast Zoro off to basically be captive to the fishermen so that they can get away. While basically once Usopp lands, gets like his first run-in with the fishermen, and also meets Nojiko, which is Nami's sister.
Yes.
Not blood related, but...
Well, yeah, and despite not being blood related, they all look identical. And I think that is just a complaint with One Piece, is that all of the women look identical.
Yeah,
Me
that is...
being the main complainer.
No, that was something I've heard for a while.
No, it's, Here, hold on.
Typing noises in the background.
Because I think, like...
See, there's like a One Piece face meme for like all the women. I cannot. Gosh, I love when I look.
Is it just that Oda does not know how to draw women?
I think
so.
It's not that he doesn't. He just very much has a type.
He does. Skinny with bondonk.
To be fair, he's at least very much equal in that guys are all also ripped. So.
Well, it was more the faces. They're just the faces.
Oh yeah, no, the women faces. I'll say there is a little bit more variety as time goes on, but
because like
not much.
If they didn't have to repeat the fact that they weren't blood related, I would have just guessed they were all related because of how identical they look in face structure.
Yeah, it's one of those like things where it's like Oda knows that it's like one of his like kind of weak points, but he's like, it's just the way I draw. So
yeah,
like. It's neither here or there. I get
and
the
newer
criticism.
Ones, don't they look slightly different?
Yeah, he gets better with time. But
like I said, he gets better with time. It's just a lot of people will be like, "Oh, here's the Nami clone for this arc."
Yeah.
The Nami clone.
Because that is pretty much his base template for a lot of female characters.
Nami is base template.
I mean, to be fair, it's also his favorite female character, so...
I don't blame
him.
him.
Too much sense.
Because Nami's cool.
Nami is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's,
Nami's pretty based.
He his wife actually was, like, played Nami in a theater play as well, so...
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. It's, like, just the funny things that loop around. But anyways, we see the Fishman's strength, and what do you think of like the Fishman's strength showcase? Like,
didn't they like turn a town upside down?
Yes, they did.
That was something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yet they still managed to lose.
Well, I mean, Oh, well, they referring to Arlong and all his men, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, you're dealing with Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, who are not your typical humans.
True. Fair enough. You got me there.
Now Usopp, that's a bit of a different story.
Yeah,
Usopp's a bit of a different story.
But he was pretty clever. We'll get to it when we get to the fights.
He was pretty clever. Oh, still should not have probably walked out of that alive.
No.
Yeah, probably not. But mostly that just like the scene with Usopp and Nojiko basically just kind of gets like to help set up like a link to like Nami's family, basically to help set up stuff for like the flashback that we get later on in the arc, which we'll get to. I just want to deal with this like kind of going chronologically.
That makes sense.
So kind of the next like important scene is basically Zoro being interrogated at the at Arlong Park because he was basically Nami like kind of tried to free him by like basically cutting his ropes, and basically he just knocked out all the fishermen there and just decided to sit on Arlong's throne and wait for Arlong to come back. Which, I mean, it's a move for Zoro.
Wait, I thought she stabbed. When did she stab Usopp?
That's a bit later.
All right, because I know, like, I remember. There's just so many, like, they all get separated. It's hard to keep track of who's when, where, and why.
Yeah, it's that'll happen quite a bit. I do think it gets a bit better with time, but this one does kind of have you going kind of all over. And
all right, so where is Arlong Park in regards to the village where Nami's from?
There's no like clear defining thing.
Is it on the same island?
It's on the same island, just like how far it is exactly.
All right,
a few miles, give or take.
All right, that's what I was like. Because, like, I know Zoro gets to the village by going with the fish octopus guy, whose name stood out to me, but I cannot remember what it is now.
Hachan?
Hachan, yes.
Or just known by his nickname Hachi, if you want to go with that for simpler terms.
Yes, Hachan. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, so he had to go by Hachan to get to the village, but then Luffy also walks from the village to Arlong Park.
Yeah, no, because it's like, it's there also that we get, like, basically, Arlong basically testing Nami's, what is it, like, her allegiance to
Arlong? Which is when she then stabs. No,
that's not it. It's where basically Zoro goads Nami into, like saving him because he throws himself.
Right.
He throws himself into the water even though he's so injured and whatnot.
I remember that now.
Because, actually, yeah, that all happens before, like, she frees him and he heads back. But,
yeah.
But, yeah, it's, like, I do like it just because it's, like, one of those things where it's, like, both Zoro and Luffy can kind of tell what's going on with Nami, even though she hasn't said anything.
I don't know, one of the things that really just kind of rubbed me the wrong way was when Nami's sister goes to give the background and Luffy's like, I don't care, and just walks away.
That sounds like Luffy, though.
That's very much a thing with Luffy. He does not care about your past. He only cares about you in the present.
Alright, I don't know. It's like...
Like, I get, like, how it could technically rub some people the wrong way, but it's, like, very much Luffy is, like...
No, it is very Luffy.
Like, I care about the
here and now.
Here and now. Whatever has happened in your past...
That's up to you.
That's entirely in the past. Whatever's happening now, I can deal with now.
Alright, that makes sense.
He's very much the person who lives in the now.
Yeah.
I think personally one of my favorite scenes in this arc was towards the end when
I'm looking at time. Sorry. It's been 30 minutes. How did that happen?
Wow, how did that?
Because y'all were excited. I think one of my favorite parts... Stop it! No, I'm kidding. One of my favorite parts was probably when... I don't remember how they ended up in her room, but I don't know. They all just went in her room. I think they got launched in her room.
Oh, the final fight?
The final fight.
Oh, that's a
when
good scene.
Luffy finally realized, like, there's such a tonal change that happens. Like, you can see Arlong just get so obsessive. Like, before, he was just a jerk and just awful. But then you saw, like, this really creepy, obsessive side come out of him.
Well,
then Luffy finally realizes
he just
everything.
Snaps.
He snaps and just starts destroying everything.
Yeah, no,
that was really...
I'll definitely get to it, but yeah, there's definitely a lot that I like.
No, this felt like movie quality.
I mean, they did actually make it into a movie.
Really? Why did we not watch that?
Episode of Nami is actually not available on any streaming services for some reason.
Really?
I have no idea why. But yeah, they
so
made
there's
it...
like an episode of, like, did they turn East Blue into, like, 4 movies?
More of they actually just did an episode of Nami, and then later did an episode of East Blue, which they basically just skipped over the episode of Nami stuff because they had already done the full episode.
We saw the episode of East Blue. Like you had me watch it.
I've shown you like clips and pieces of it because it just does some things like it just has some things nicely better animated in some cases.
But again, that last part.
It was really good. So did they dub the episode of Nami or?
Not the episode of Nami, but episode of East Blue. I think maybe dubbed. I have to go check that. Because episode of Nami happened like well before like Funimation had started actually catching up with the dubs and doing the TV specials alongside. Actually, surprisingly, the Funimation dub is actually only I think like about 30 to 50 episodes away from being caught up to where they are currently.
That's very good.
So we might actually be getting simul-dubbed to One Piece in the near future.
Speaking of dubs, I don't know. I know My Hero was started like a while ago. That's done, right? Like
yeah, it should be.
Right. And then how far are we into Demon Slayer?
Demon Slayer, its dub just started releasing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's annoying.
It starts kind of late.
Why?
I know. I don't know why.
That's boring.
Which is also the weirder thing because they had episode 1 already dubbed months ago.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was back in March.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's
no,
like
I was like literally going on to watch the episode last week, and I was like, oh, they started the dub. Took them forever.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, anyways, getting back to like One Piece. So kind of we just have a lot of it's just kind of I think basically what is it? I forget how Usopp ends up there because I think that's like the next thing that
Usopp gets captured by one of the fish guys. Remember he grabbed him by his nose and just kind of flails him around by it.
Right. Yeah.
They just call him Long Nose for the rest of the arc.
Yeah, no, get used to a lot of like Usopp long nose. Like...
Yeah, I mean he does have a really big nose, which I get it. It's a Pinocchio reference.
Yeah. I mean
because he's a terrible liar.
Well, I mean, also in his name, the word Uso means lie. His name is Usopp.
His whole thing is that his
literal name is liar.
Yeah, he pulled from 2 lying fairy tales. He's like got the Pinocchio nose, and he was the boy that lied about pirates.
Wolf.
Yeah, he was
back in his introduction arc. Yeah,
he was the boy who cried wolves, but instead of wolves,
so
it was pirates.
He's basically the butt of the joke character.
I mean,
which makes sense because he is voiced by Sonny.
In the dub, yeah.
Yeah, he's voiced by Sonny Strait, who also played Krillin, who's also the butt of the joke character. Who's also
I love Krillin!
No, Krillin's amazing. He still is also a butt of the joke character.
But, like, they actually make Usopp kind of unlikable.
Yeah.
Very unlikable.
I really did not like him in this arc.
Like, very
Like,
unlikable.
I like when he's turned around
Krillin
and stood
is likable.
up. Yeah, no, he really turned it around at the end, but man, I did not like him at all this arc.
No, I definitely get it. It's,
Is he always like this?
Let's just say that Usopp is a character who is going to have to grow and find actual courage compared to our other characters.
But
so
he does get better.
While he does have those cowardly moments, it's in retrospective because he's the most normal human.
No, I get it, but
no, I know, and I'm not saying that it's wrong. I've heard many opinions on this arc.
Yeah, selling or giving up Zoro to the fisherman just so we can get away. No, that was wrong.
It's
That's Zoro.
It's very much a thing that like his lying and cowardice doesn't really ever fully go away. But the situations that he gets into and the courage that he needs to stand up to it also grows over time.
But he's not. Is this the last time he gives up? He gives up one of his teammates just so he can get away.
Let me think. There's a lot of arcs, so I want to temporarily say this is potentially like
the worst he gets.
Kind of. I mean, there's one other point, but that's more of an actual conflict within the crew than outside of the crew. But
oh wait, do they have their own little civil war?
Something kind of similar, akin to it.
That'll be interesting.
But that's like a bit later down the line.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I just don't want to like spoil too much.
No.
I'm trying to keep it as minimal detail as possible.
Good idea. I mean, seeing how our first episode together went, that's
that's why. Because also, since I know everything and you're blind, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, that first My Hero episode, man, do I really want to go back and redub that?
Yeah, like as much as I would like to, I just don't feel like I have too much more to say than what I said in that.
I just want to take out that horrible spoiler I threw in.
Yeah,
You could just bleep it.
It's either that or we could just add something to say that it's very spoiler.
Yeah, basically,
heavy,
I did a huge manga spoiler about a major character in the first episode of the podcast, and I didn't even preface it. I just said it.
yeah.
Dropped it in the middle of a sentence.
No, we definitely got better, and it was also our first episode.
I
so
also
I'm willing to cut it a lot of slack.
I also did get a lot of complaints from people about that, and I'm like, yeah, that was my bad.
A lot of comments?
Yeah, no, like I sent it to some friends, and my friends texted me back like, "What the hell was that?
What are you doing?
Why would you do that?" I'm like,
Why would you do that?
Whoops.
Whoops. My bad.
I whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, but no. Getting back to it though,
Yes.
I do really like the whole Nami Usopp scene where it's like she stabs her hand instead of like stabbing him.
Yes,
in order
I
to
did.
cover-
What I thought she stabbed was because I know he had the like ketchup thing, like the jelly. I thought she stabbed that.
That's so funny.
That's actually the 4Kids way that they actually
Really?
did it. Yes, I'll have to show you the clip
Oh,
afterwards.
all right.
But
Like I know he has those, and he used it to get himself out of it.
Yeah, he uses that later in the fight, but like in his fight, but like yeah, no, the ketchup thing is actually a joke that they make in the 4Kids stuff, and it's just it ruins
It sounds
all
like
it ruins all the emotional thing
It
because
sounds
it's
like the
actually
4Kids
Nami
stuff.
stabbing her hand and whatnot.
yeah,
you
no,
know?
that sounds like the 4Kids dub for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to show you it though, because my gosh, it is hilarious. But anyways, basically from that point, they're all able to reconvene, and that's where we basically start delving into Nami's backstory.
Yes.
I'm gonna very just.
Oh wait, did we get Nami's backstory before or after Luffy gets to the hat? Because that scene.
It's before. It's before.
That scene is really good.
Yeah, no, the scene of him giving his hat is like after the flashback and everything. But just basically to set it up here because it's such a very like. To me, like, as much as, like, it plays a pivotal role and whatnot, I do not care for Nezumi and the corrupt Marines and stealing the money from
The
Nami.
little rat guy?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Does Nezu mean rat?
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
Nezumi means exactly rat.
No, because I was thinking about it. It's like, why? I was like, oh, that's funny. Nezu means the rat guy, and then Nezu's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because there's the rat principal in My Hero's name is Nezu.
Yeah, no, it's... A lot of One Piece names are pretty spot on.
So are My Hero.
Yeah.
I mean, My Hero's just works. At least One Piece tries to like kind of slide it in. My Hero's just in your face about it.
I mean, to be fair, we get characters later on who are literally just called Smoothie. So,
what was the Buggy the Clown?
yeah.
I like that. That's a good name.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll actually be getting back to him pretty soon.
Yeah, I know he's the villain of the next one.
Sounds about
I was
right.
looking at episode titles and descriptions for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, because we actually also cover his so cover stories. We'll eventually have to get to actually covering that within the manga because the anime only covers the first 2 of them for some reason. I really don't know why they didn't continue with it, considering that cover stories actually do play back into the main plot later on. But yeah, that'll be something that we'll cover with Logtown.
Is that the next one?
Yeah.
And that's the final one of East Blue?
Yes, that is the final arc of East Blue.
Okay.
It's actually interesting because, and we'll get to it in the Logtown stuff, but there's actually anime, like, original stuff added into there that we are going to watch because it's actually stuff Oda intended to put in that arc. It's just because he wanted to get into the Grand Line by chapter 100
That makes sense.
that he cut
And
a lot of stuff in the Logtown
Yeah,
arc.
did he go back and ever publish it?
Not in a manga. He had basically someone else write it up in a light novel format.
Alright.
So it's like, well, people are like, oh, but just skip those. They aren't actually canon to the anime. But I'm like, Oda technically wrote those and gave it to a light novel author to publish, and basically that's what got translated into the anime.
Nice.
Anyways, a thing for next time that I'll delve a bit more into. But regardless, so Nami's backstory.
Yes. So sad.
Okay, if
sad.
you had to rank the backstories that we've seen of all, because this is the final backstory basically for.
They're all sad. They're all also really good. I think
if you had to rank them,
Usopp, while good, at the bottom.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
I don't remember Luffy's very well.
That's the whole Shanks one, but with the arm.
With the arm. Second last.
Really?
There wasn't much to it. There wasn't enough. I feel like it's like me.
I'd say probably if
it's not bad. Like I love Shanks.
I'll let you finish up your rankings and then I'll tell you.
Like I love Shanks as a character. He's really cool. Still.
Okay.
Now you get to the hard 3, because you got Zoro, who's really
cool.
good and sad. You got the
Sanji,
which was really good and sad. You got Nami's, which was the most sad.
Personally, for me, I would say Nami 3, Zoro maybe 2, and then Sanji 1. For me personally.
Okay, here's how I would list it.
Yeah,
because Sanji,
Usopp, Zoro, Luffy, Sanji, Nami.
You don't like Zoro's?
It's not that Zoro's is bad. It's that if you cut out about all of the anime filler put into the backstory,
how much of that was filler?
Half of the episode.
Really? Yeah. Show me. I gotta know. Because like that was such a good one. So like, what specifically parts weren't in it?
I'll show you all of Zoro's flashback.
Is it 2 pages? I remember you mentioning this now. It was 2 pages and they turned it into a whole episode, which I think is awesome.
It's 2 pages in the manga. It's while there is like some good stuff in it, there is some stuff that is like very much actually actively goes against what becomes canon later on, and that it's Zoro's always lived in his village.
Oh yeah, because I remember the backstory was he was traveling trying to find a swordsman to teach him.
Yeah, in the like later on in the manga, it's just confirmed that he's always lived in that village.
Right.
But otherwise, the stuff with
How did she die again?
Down these stairs.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I knew it was. I knew it had. I thought it was going to do the stairs. I'm like, but that's so stupid. They wouldn't do that.
Nope, they didn't.
No, it's so funny because I've been like.
All right, because it is actually down the stairs. I'm gonna put that at.
Third to last.
I'm debating about swap. I actually might follow Josh with this and then put, because down the stairs is just really stupid. I thought she was killed by some swordsman or something.
Nope. That is what is actually the 4Kids dubbed thing for it as well.
What did she?
She got defeated by some strong swordsman and she went to sulk in her room forever.
All right, so what's gonna happen now is we're gonna put Luffy at 3rd, Zoro at 4th.
There we go.
Yeah.
But you still got the hard part of Sanji and Nami. But and this is backstory, not like characters. Like
I know the backstory. I really like Sanji's. Is just really depressing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's it.
Okay, yeah, that's 4th. You're right.
Like for me personally, like Nami's is like sad, tragic even, but Sanji is just pathetic. Like,
no,
so sad.
His is really sad.
It's brutal.
It's brutal, sad, and pathetic.
It gets even. I know it gets worse. Like when we learn more about him later on, it gets so much. Like the reason why he was on that ship.
Yeah, is even worse than him being on that ship.
Yeah. It's. Yeah. But yeah, no, him being on the ship, it getting taken over by pirates, the ship going down, the pirate that took over his ship saving him, and then dying in the process. No, he didn't die.
He didn't die.
He became his cook mentor.
Yeah.
But basically
he
gave Sanji all of the food and saved none for himself.
Yeah.
And nearly starved to death while trying to let Sanji live.
Yeah,
sad.
I mean, and also this is just like because I don't know if you remember or not the difference between the anime where he cuts it off with the anchor compared to the manga where he eats his own leg.
I don't remember that, but yeah, he cuts out the pirate guy cuts his own leg off to save Sanji.
Like in order just to sustain himself.
Yeah, and just to feed himself, he cuts it off.
Yeah.
Cannibalism.
I mean, if you're stuck on an island and you don't have
auto-cannibalism.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna put Sanji at 2 and Nami at 1st because it's just sad.
You want to know the funny thing?
What?
I don't think it's sadder from here.
Whose?
The flashbacks.
All of them?
Yes.
Even Luffy's?
Even Luffy's second one.
How does it get worse?
I thought Luffy had like the most like not.
He had the most nonchalant.
He had the most stupidest.
Basically, what happened is Shanks brought back a devil fruit. Luffy was hungry, so he ate it.
Yeah, I mean,
Luffy was like,
but it's also like
Yum.
a lot of the things of like what Shanks teaches Luffy.
Yeah.
That
no, and I still we've only seen Shanks for very little, and I still think he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I know. That's just how much staying power Shanks has.
Yeah. No, and then so Nami Yeah, I think Nami has the best backstory. It also, because, like, I really did like that twist where she first comes back to the village and they all refuse to talk to her. Like, they all are pretending to hate her. And then once once it all comes out, they're like, oh yeah, we knew why you were doing this the whole time. We were just making it easy for you to do it. We pretended to hate you because we knew if you knew that we supported what you were doing, you would never do it.
Yeah. They wanted to give her that out to run away, which is just... Gosh, I'm like, I feel so much for that village, and we'll touch on Genzo at the end as well, because it's like the final thing that we get of Genzo also at the end.
Also, Nami not being able to apologize to her mom before she died. Ow.
Yeah,
that hurts.
Yeah, no,
that made me cry, almost cry.
Yeah, no. Actually, on that, what did you think about Bellamere as a character?
She was so cool, and she was such a good mom, and did not deserve that. And
I know.
Pain.
Yeah. No, it was like, oh, she paid the $1,000. All right, she's gonna save herself. Then they're gonna have to run away. And then declares, oh no, this money isn't for me. It's for my 2 daughters. And then they just kill her.
Yeah.
In front of them. Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah, I don't know which is worse. The way that the anime has it, I believe, has him shoot her in the head, whereas in the manga he shoots her in the heart. I don't know.
I don't think she gets shot in the head. I think she gets shot in the chest. But here, do you want to try pulling it up?
Let me see. Let's see. I could probably just pull up Bellamere because it's a very small difference. I don't know which is worse, honestly. Honestly, both are just equally as bad. Honestly.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh yeah. Well, it depends on what you're looking at. Because there's 2 anime shots.
Yeah.
No, here, look.
Oh, I guess they changed it in East Blue, because, East Blue has it more, like, manga accurate.
Yeah, because, like, in this...
Yeah.
I think this is the original, and this might be episode of East Blue where she gets shot in the head.
Yeah, you can see it.
Oh, so she's shot in the head in the manga.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying it was the other way.
Like I said, I'm like, I can't remember which way it was.
It's
better than 4Kids' fate for her.
What was the 4Kids one?
Throw her in the dungeon!
Okay.
And she's just forever eternally
Alright, so what do you think is worse? Being shot in the head or shot in the heart?
Shot in the heart.
Yeah.
Head, instant kill. Heart, you're still alive for a little bit before you...
I know, but which is more traumatizing to a kid?
Yeah,
the head.
Yeah, because then that's all you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was and then...
Why do you think I say the head? Because
you have
the face.
Yeah, you don't see that face anymore. That face is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, no, I think Nami has the best backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Usopp can...
There wasn't really much there.
Usopp was just... He started lying because his mother was dying of an illness.
And his dad was gone.
Yeah, and it was just basically to cheer her up. So
and then
it's not a bad it's not a bad backstory. It's just in comparison to everything else.
I wouldn't even say it's great. It's just there's not much there.
No, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think more of Usopp's character comes from developing it now than like from his flashback. Same can kind of be said for Zoro, though his past plays parts in his training to become the best. Yeah,
I think his anime I remember his backstory being much better than what I think it actually was. Awesome. Luffy's was just it was the oldest one from what I've seen. I don't remember it all too well.
And I mean that's totally fair. Recency bias can play a role as well.
But no, it's just eating the devil fruit. All right, cool. And then he discovers his powers, and then he gets attacked by the sea dragon, and then Shanks loses an arm, and that's about it.
Yeah,
and he was never really like any danger that much. I mean, granted, he was in the ocean, he couldn't swim. But
he could have drowned. But
other than that, no.
But yeah, no, it's But yeah,
I don't know. There wasn't really that sad factor to it. Other than Shanks losing his arm, but in the end, it all worked out for him.
Mm-hmm.
At least he's alive.
But yeah, I mean, you also get to see like a lot of where Nami gets her her appeals and like her
out of her personality.
Yeah, like her thievery was even just from a young age because they were poor. Yeah, and then also her appealing, like her using sexual appeal is the same thing that Bellamere used on Genzo and whatnot.
Yeah. No,
it's because I think this while the Sanji flashback that we get in Baratier is not bad, it just I don't think you get as much as seeing how it kind of forms the character.
Yeah, and also I know more. I've seen some clips of further down the line, so I know more of it, and it's better.
Yeah.
Like, knowing the whole story makes it better, but I still think Nami's, from what I've seen, is better than knowing it.
It's like, it's
little
very
bit
much...
more.
Understanding Sanji, you don't get from his first flashback. You definitely get from the later flashback. That I'm not going to say anything further than that.
I won't, but I kind of know.
Yeah, I know you kind of know. I just don't want to fully go into detail and just let you experience it in the context of the story.
Yeah, I do like the the kind of the sadness with the captain, whose name I cannot remember. The cook one.
Zeph?
Yeah, Captain Zeph.
Yeah.
Yeah, Redfoot Zeph.
Mm-hmm.
Whose foot was red because it was stained with the blood of his enemies that he kicked to death.
Mm-hmm.
What was the four kids'
Sounds
reason
about
for that?
right.
Was it the ketchup he stepping in the kitchen?
He kept.
Gosh, I don't even know if there was an explanation or if they just cut out
the Redfoot Zeph part.
Yeah.
And I just called him Zeph.
Or added some different title that made him not as bad as what his title actually was.
Those four kids trying to make anime.
I hate the censoring.
It's from an outside perspective, it's hilarious. Like, what did they turn the guns into in this
water
show?
Guns?
Water guns. They turned the Navy, instead of having real guns, they turned them into water guns.
Although, gosh, I'll have to show you eventually, but actually, I think I can actually show you the first video now, but it's showing all the censorship changes from the 4Kids to the actual anime.
Nice.
But yeah, just any final thoughts on Nami's flashbacks before we delve into
It was tragic, it was sad, and it made her it redeemed her character to me.
Alright, so getting into the fights.
Yes.
We'll do it in chronological order and how they happened. What did you think about Zoro versus Hachan?
I liked it. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of they kind of crippled Zoro at the start of the fight. I would have preferred to see a full power Zoro versus Hachan fight.
Yeah, but I think it wouldn't because that line that he says at the end, in order to win, my swords hold a different weight, wouldn't land as similarly if he
wouldn't, but I would have
power.
been more interested to see them fighting at full strength, the 8 versus 3.
Fair enough. Actually, I guess, sorry, I completely forgot to skip that we skipped over this, and it's kind of important because it's, the big turning point. What did you think of Nami's plea to Luffy?
Oh, yeah, the help me plea?
Yeah.
So sad. That also really hit hard.
It's what people consider still, one of these days, the most goated One Piece scene.
I think it is. Yeah, it definitely is, with, her trying to stab out the tattoo, and then pleading to Luffy to help her, even though she's been cursing him out the whole time he's been here, and him just giving her the hat and her having the flashback of him telling her never to touch his hat.
Yeah, no, it's such a good scene. And then also, this is actually surprisingly anime original, but the walk to Arlong Park.
Oh yeah. Also, I do really appreciate the fact that Luffy and Zoro never once doubted Nami, even after all of the evidence, all of their evidence that they had pointed to Nami just never being on their side, never once questioned her, and always believed so hard that...
I mean, Sanji didn't question it either, but that's for a different reason.
Yeah, Sanji's just a simp.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm
Is
wrong.
he?
Yes.
For Nami?
Every woman.
Does that really mean a simp or a player?
He's not a player, because that would require he actually gets a game.
He don't got game. He's just...
But I think they were going more the old 2000s kind of
I don't know.
player-esque and less simp-like. Because the idea of simp didn't really exist back then.
I know, but
it doesn't really, I don't really
apply.
think it's in Japanese culture, per se, as, an actual term. But, no, it's just that Sanji's...
too obsessed with women. It's not like he's
Yeah,
good at the
it's
game.
a very common trope from back
yeah.
then. They always have to make some male character just obsessed with women.
It is pretty common.
Yeah,
He's the lecher of the group, basically.
Yeah.
But not as bad as
The
some of the
playboy,
others.
the lecher.
Yeah.
He's not as bad as
I remember in not just Oran Host Club, because all of them are, it's their job. But
yeah,
I remember even in Soul Eater,
yeah,
it was her dad, which actually completely ruined her life, basically.
A lot of shonen manga usually has that
they have one
yeah,
character.
the Roshis or there's one in Naruto. He was
Yeah, there was one in Naruto.
Jiraiya.
The Roshis, the Jiraiyas, the Menedas. If we're gonna go more recent.
Yeah.
I want to know what trope that is.
Sanji's just better than all of them because he's not a perv about it. He's just
He's a little bit of a perv, but
he's
not
a
like
little-
yeah, but not as-
perv.
Well, it's
Bro.
also that it helps that he has a chivalrous side that
Yeah.
kind of outbalances
Is
it, I
it?
think.
Yeah, but
he
he's
has
still,
a personality other than women.
Yeah.
But most of the time he speaks, it's woman.
Woman.
I mean, at least at the moment.
Especially in
There's,
this arc.
Yeah, at least in this arc, for sure.
I feel like
Um,
he doesn't really say anything outside of
Other
Nami
arcs,
this, Nami
other
that.
arcs can run the gambit.
Yeah.
It depends on the arc which one is focused on.
He is
more.
just incredibly lonely.
That's why I say
Yeah.
Sanji is a character of really high highs and really low
Yeah, Sanji
lows.
is only with Sanji has stated several times he's only with their group so he can get a date with Nami.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like the only reason he came to Arlong Park is so he could get Nami to go out with him.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, yeah, he does feel some
Yeah.
indeption. Is that the right word?
I think, yeah, I know he said something along the lines of like, I'm like with Nami gone, 85% of the reason I'm here is also gone.
Yeah, meaning that 15% of being in debt to Luffy
Yeah.
for actually wanting to follow his dreams.
Yeah.
that
Now,
sounds about
I do
right.
actually think it's actually a bit more than that.
Yeah, I think he was talking. He was,
But
Full of it.
yeah, but
Sanji will say things a lot just for the women in his life, and
If any of them stick around, that is.
I mean, it's very much dependent on your opinion of Sanji on whether that makes him a good or bad character.
does he ever?
It
get
makes him a
girl?
tragic character. It makes him a sad
No.
character, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know. There are so many different females that Sanji has been with that it's like,
Whoa, he
like-
actually has game.
not
Yeah, he
like not like
actually has
actual
game.
game, but like he's actually bounced off of like actually a few women in the second half of this story
Like,
that
like a NR character.
like no, like to the point of where people have actually been like,
No, I
oh,
meant,
this
like-
is the end game ship
No,
with
I was
Sanji
really-
or something like that.
Does he ever end up with someone at the end?
Not well. It hasn't ended yet.
Yeah, I'm like, we
It's
still
still
got
Does he
though.
actually end up with someone at the... Because the manga still hasn't ended?
No,
yeah,
he's
it's still
going.
going.
Oh my god, damn.
Yeah, we still got, I don't know.
Let me guess. They pulled some sort of time shenanigans like they did in Fairy Tail.
No, actually.
They haven't?
Yeah, there was a time skip. But
Well,
not
I
that
mean,
much.
like, yeah, time skip.
Yeah,
Time
I mean, there is a
shenanigans.
time skip, but it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just done to,
Is it like
because-
just getting to the Grand Line?
yeah. Well, like the Grand Line we'll actually get to at the end
Alright.
of this East Blue Saga,
Alright.
but there are two parts to it, to the Grand Line. But we'll get into that
when we get to
later. What did you think about the Sanji versus Kurobi fight?
I did appreciate that. Like, it was fish martial arts versus.
Like, also a lot of it was underwater. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
that was pretty cool. Like Sanji trying to get him, like Sanji trying to get to Luffy, and then
But also having to defend him off, and then eventually figuring out how to send, like,
covering
send
the
him,
gills. That was really smart.
and sending him up into the air because that's the quick acclimation and
Yeah.
whatnot. Because he's like a cook, so
Yeah.
it makes sense he would understand fish by
Yeah.
like anatomy and
Yeah,
whatnot.
so yeah, he knew like if I
It's
cover the
actually
gills,
a-
he won't be able to breathe and
it's
have to go back up.
Yeah, it's like one of the very clever like Sanji fights.
Yeah, also I don't know. I get that he knew the fish part, but I don't know how he knew like the fishman biology just off the top of his head.
Well,
like, what
'cause-
if the gills didn't work that way?
Well, I think it's because he had to test it a little bit
Yeah.
because he did have to come back out for a bit.
Yeah.
And so basically, and also I think Kurobi was monologuing about it a
Probably,
bit,
yeah.
which is what gave it kind of away. Because
How were they able to communicate under the water?
Sanji wasn't really communicating.
I thought
don't-
Sanji was talking back to him.
I mean, let's just put it this way: it's probably the same way that Zoro talks with a sword in his mouth,
Fair enough.
just with the heart of his mind.
Yes. They all have They also have They all have telepathy abilities.
Yeah, no, it's but Kurobi was actually speaking underwater.
Yeah,
That's possible
that-
for a fisherman.
No, that makes sense. All right, so I did really. Yeah, he just kind of kicks the poop out of him.
Yeah, just sends him flying, and
That's it.
and is able to free Luffy because he gets stuck underwater.
Yeah,
That's
I do like that Sanji was able to break the pure concrete with just a kick underwater, which.
I mean, he is pretty strong.
Yeah, but even like trying to think of the physics of that, 'cause, like,
Oh,
water's
yeah, no,
already
it-
gonna make you slower.
It's definitely pretty tough. But okay, and then what?
Also, I do like the idea of that the village guy had just stretching Luffy's head out of the water so he could breathe.
so that they can perform CPR on him.
Yes.
There, it's pretty clever.
It is pretty clever. I do like that.
It is using Luffy's body to his advantage, even though, like, technically he can't activate his own powers underwater.
Yeah.
Other people can still stretch him.
Yeah.
Alright, and then the final 1v1 before we get into Luffy versus Arlong. What do you think of Usopp versus Chu?
I really did like that. I do like that. I really this part kind of helped fix the fact that I was getting really sick of Usopp in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Just him standing, like stopping in mid-run, realizing he needs to take a stand, and then just kind of wiping the floor with his slingshot.
Yeah, no. I think, honestly, when we see Usopp's battles, Usopp, like, fights with really, like, in a way that only Usopp can fight.
He's the Green Arrow of this universe. He's got all those instead of arrows, they're trick balls or whatever he calls them.
Trick pellets.
Trick pellets instead of trick arrows. I'm waiting for him to just pull out a boxing glove pellet.
Honestly, I don't think that happens, but he does get something that's actually pretty cool later on.
If you're really gonna,
Yeah, he's able to make, like, not too much of it. Like, it's just a technique, but he's able to make a firebird.
That's pretty cool. I do like the, he didn't do that?
Just regular fire.
He threw, like, oil on the guy and lit him on fire.
Yeah.
It's pretty metal for Usopp.
No, I know. But it's, like, literally the way that Usopp fights is by fighting with what he knows.
Yeah.
And outsmarting his opponent
which you would never really think he'd be the one to outsmart opponents instead of...
Well, I mean, he has to.
He's a normal
human.
Doesn't have powers, but it's just, like, Usopp doesn't seem like the one to be intelligent enough to do it, but it always is interesting seeing him come out on top and outsmart.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually, like, one of, like, the things that makes, like, when Usopp actually gets a fight pretty interesting is, like, how can he outsmart his opponent or figure out what situation at hand and whatnot. But yeah, getting into Luffy versus Arlong. What do you think of that?
Really good. Again, I don't really feel like Luffy was in that much danger. Like, I don't know how much Arlong could have done to him, even though he has super sharp teeth.
I'm like, he was biting into him. Luffy was covered in quite a bit of blood.
Alright, so I couldn't remember if it actually was penetrating in or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is probably the most damaged we see Luffy by the end of this. I mean, I still do think that Luffy still was more considerably stronger than Arlong. But, I mean, it was at least a battle that had to test him a bit, because, like, Arlong had so many tools up his arsenal.
Yeah.
And he hadn't dealt with a fishman before.
I don't remember too much of the fight. But I did really like him, like, Arlong pulling out his teeth and, like, they get stronger each time I do it. Luffy just attacking him with his own teeth.
Yeah.
It was kind of gross when he stuck it in his mouth.
I mean, yeah.
I get it was a gag, but...
No, and it's, like... But it's also just to show that Luffy will come up with things as he goes in a fight, just off of about anything. Like, even the pinwheel attack that he does at the beginning is inspired by Genzo's pinwheel at the beginning.
Yeah. But yeah, that Luffy sending Arlong and him up to Nami's room and seeing, like, what Arlong has been making. Like, we kind of talked about it earlier, what, like, Arlong had been doing to Nami. And,
yeah, if before we get to that, there is, like, one line.
Is there other?
Like, there's one line before they get into there that I just really want to emphasize, and that's where it's like Luffy's, like, Arlong's making fun of him. It's like, what can you even do? You're such a worthless captain. But Luffy's like, yeah, I am worthless. That's why I have people to cover me. That's why I have Zoro who can cut things. I have Sanji who can cook. I have Nami who can navigate. I have Usopp who can lie.
I don't remember that line, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, like, he's like, I'm not as good as those things as they are, but they help fill for my weaknesses.
I do vaguely remember something to that effect. I don't remember that exact wording, and I do like that.
I mean, it's not exact wording, it's me paraphrasing the wording, but just, like, that sort of thing, like, showing that Luffy knows
his
like,
strengths and knows his weaknesses.
Like, he knows that he's not good at all these other things, but what he can do is beat Arlong up right now.
What he can do is punch really, really hard.
Yeah, he's like, he finishes it with, like, the one thing I know is that I can kick your ass. Yeah. Because that is his actual line.
I do remember that.
Because that's what Luffy does.
Yeah, that is just Luffy to a character.
Yeah. He may not be this, like, smartest, like, intelligently, but, like, he'll know what people, like, if people are going through something and be able to recognize that. Even, like, if he doesn't know the context, he doesn't need the context. He will help you if he cares about you enough. Yeah. And that's just what I find is, like, a lot of showing, like, Luffy's strength as a character.
Yeah, no, I do think Luffy is I've never had an issue with Luffy's character.
Oh no, I know. I just mean by like just to emphasize
Yeah.
that. Like, I'm not saying that you have a
Yeah.
problem or anything. I was
Yeah.
just like, I feel like it's a good emphasis of
Yeah.
his character. But yeah, like also his final words, like once they're in
Yeah.
Nami's navigator like room, like you made my navigator cry, and
Yeah.
basically, so like, and he basically says it's like, I'm gonna take it all down with me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna keep her trapped in this prison that
Yeah.
you made for her. Like,
Yeah, destroying the room that she was basically stuck in.
mm-hmm. I'm like, that's just like,
And I do really find it interesting that this is when you really see Arlong start getting pissed off, was during this part of the fight. Like, Now, alright, I know they mentioned at one point that Arlong kind of went crazy, like the sea dragons can go crazy. What was that about? Like, I know they made a line, like Arlong had a look in his eye, like after Luffy did something to him, where he kind of like snapped, like sea dragon. Like they made it. They showed a clip of a sea dragon, like when the sea dragons go berserk or something.
I think maybe it's just to show like his shark instinct for Arlong. Maybe
All
I'm
right.
not entirely sure. I'd have to go review the scene, but like, it's not that important of a thing. I don't think it was just to show that Arlong was getting mad at Luffy.
All right.
Yeah,
But Luffy tearing down the whole Arlong Park building on top of Arlong.
Yeah,
That was really nice.
It's just so cathartic with that battle axe.
Yeah, just the battle axe foot just.
And just pushing Arlong down and down and down until it collapses the entire.
Kill Arlong?
No.
Alright.
No.
Does he kill any of his villains?
No. Luffy's. I believe it's a thing that Oda mentioned in one of the SBSs that we covered prior. It's that characters are more dead if their dreams are dead than if they're actual. Then they are actually.
Alright,
dead.
so then, like, what happens to all of the villains? They just get picked up by the Navy?
Yeah, basically.
Alright, fair enough.
They'll be transferred to a very special prison that we'll get to later.
Oh, we get to have a huge fight of all of the past villains coming back and trying to kick Luffy's butt?
Not exactly.
Oh, dang it, that would have been kind of cool. Just a battle royale of Luffy having to take down all of his past villains again.
No, but but after that, basically, they're able to celebrate. Nami gets a new tattoo of a pinwheel and a tangerine to help represent.
That was really nice.
And we get like
the 3 days of partying. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. I just love that Usopp has so many songs.
And he keeps calling himself the captain.
I mean, yeah, that's just Usopp's thing. He's gonna create grand stories of lying, but but no, and it's like basically at like their departure, like Nami gets away, but it's like in that final scene we get the Genzo putting away like the pinwheel at Bellamir's grave and whatnot.
No, he didn't do that. Nami stole it.
No, he didn't steal it. No, Genzo puts his pinwheel at
in the anime. He makes a comment, or like Luffy asks him where his pinwheel is, and he's like, "I have no clue where it is."
No,
then,
he knows where it is.
it,
He actually set it up.
To me, the context was Nami stole it because she does also go and steal everyone's wallet.
No, I know.
I thought the setup was that she stole the pinwheel and put it there.
I mean, no, I don't think so. I think it was Genzo who set up the pinwheel at Bellamir's grave.
Okay.
Not only just one because to pay respect to Bellamere, because he did care about her.
Yeah, the pinwheel was Bellamir's suggestion.
But the pinwheel was a thing because when Nami was young,
she was scared of him,
and she put the pinwheel on his head, and it made her happy.
Yeah.
It's such a small detail like that.
Really
it's like,
cute.
what the heck is this man with a pinwheel on his head? But
yeah,
it's like,
I was wondering what that was about, and then that was really cute.
Like Oda actually gave an in-world reason as to why he has a pinwheel on his head. You know, there will be more characters like that who have like weird like clothing choices that you'd be like, why would you dress like that? But there's an actual legitimate reason behind why they are like that.
I do love that Nami left the 10 million berries behind the village and then just stole all their wallets on the way out.
It was like 100 million, but yeah. It's like, compared to the pocket change that they probably had, it's not actually all that much.
Yeah.
But that's why it's like perfectly fine that they did it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also, I do love that she refused to say goodbye to them and just kind of stormed through the crowd.
Yeah, but it's nice because at the end we finally get to see Nami smile.
Yeah, and that was really sweet.
Yeah.
Did they ever go back?
We have not done any return to any islands. There's only, I think, 2 islands in the entire series that they have returned to, and they are for very specific reasons.
All right, and those are I'm guessing those are islands we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, they aren't.
All right.
That's why I'm being vague with them.
Fair enough.
I would give the names if we had been to them.
Fair enough.
But yeah, just overall, any final thoughts on the arc before we get into
a really good arc.
Into some of the question corner stuff?
Oh, that was just really good.
All right. So getting into the question corner, because we covered these, we cover any volumes that are completed by the end of the arc. So while this arc technically covered volumes 8 to 11, since volume 11 was not completed with this arc, I am not including volume 11 in it. But basically, so we get like some of these questions where it's like,
yeah, since no, I don't like that.
I mean,
no, let me see this.
I mean, devil fruit. Devil fruit powers
No,
applied to the whole body.
This is a child-friendly anime. No,
this is for children.
This is for children.
I
did not need to know that.
Wait, did he say? Oh, no, actually, I didn't even read the answer.
I did not need to know that.
I don't know why he. All right, cool.
I did not need to know that. This is a child.
I do like the physics. How many? What is it?
Grams per cubic centimeter.
Into 2 decimals, please. To tell you the truth, is it possible to measure? There are games in the arcade that measure your kick power well. If Sanji used one of those, he would destroy not only the game, but the wall of the entire building. If he tried to put it into a form of measurement, I would say 21 bats. The power to destroy 21 wooden baseball bats in one kick.
Yeah, then also there's just like one on like the IQ of some characters.
Alright, let's see. Well, the characters introduced so far in One Piece, and having cleared that up, the characters with the highest IQ is Shanks' first mate, Ben Beckman. He's a great crewmate who supports Shanks and astonishing wisdom and strength. Right after that, it's probably Captain Kuro, then Nami, etc. Now for the lowest IQ, I can't decide the worst one. They're all idiots. That's fair. They are all idiots, especially the Straw Hat Gang, or Luffy's Straw Hat Gang.
Yeah.
What's the ship called? The Going Merry?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the crew of the Going Merry. They're all dumb.
Yeah. Here's like a breakdown of like the Marines when I can pull up the image once you're finished.
Yeah.
Like,
the Marine system is the base Kobe is in the 153rd branch. Officers at the rank of captain, Taisa, and above command the bases spread out all over the world. I wonder if one day Kobe advances through. And
then this is like the just like how they.
All right, so the fleet admiral is the very highest.
Yes.
All right. So there's a world government. That makes sense. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but basically where Kobe's at right now, and you'll see it like later when we get to his cover story. But he's currently
Torboy.
Yeah, he's down here.
Right, so there's seaman recruit, seaman apprentice, seaman first class, then chief petty officer,
petty officer, chief
petty officer, chief petty officer, master chief petty officer, warrant officer, lieutenant junior grade, ensign.
It's actually ensign.
Yeah,
you work your way up.
Lieutenant commander, captain, commodore, rear admiral, vice admiral, admiral, fleet admiral.
Yeah. There's only one of them and 3 of these.
When are we gonna meet them?
Eventually.
Much later
on? I'd say about like halfway through this first half.
Right.
Like at the beginning of the first of it. Let's see. Is there anything else from this one? Let's see. I do kind of like this one.
So we made that natural rubber, artificial rubber, meteorological, agency investigation, Ministry of Education. Bob, he's naturally stupid, rubber. Yeah, he is just naturally stupid.
Yeah, that as it.
Monkey D. Luffy, what does the D stand for? Is it Donburi, or maybe Daibatsu, giant statue, or maybe I'm really curious. I don't ridiculous number of these letters so many, but I can't answer the question. I cannot answer it yet. Please just read it as D and do not think too deeply into it for now. Did we actually ever get an answer?
We're getting hints at an answer.
So
currently.
Still, we don't know. It's been how many years?
Considering that this probably came out around 2000, about 23 years.
Wow, Oda.
Like I said, there are some big questions that Oda leaves up, and it's very fun to speculate about. But also, you want those answers sometimes.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Let's see. Is there anything from this one? Let's see. Oh, this is a pretty interesting one. Like he chose like the flintlock, like a thing for a flintlock pistol and whatnot.
Is flintlock's not really a thing back in Japan?
I mean, more of it's like because he's doing a pirate story, which focuses a lot on like Western type culture and whatnot. So it's like some of his
Makes
like,
sense. It's just, did they know?
and it's also like he's a kid audience wouldn't know as well.
Fair
So
enough.
it's like
I just have never heard of Matchlock.
yeah, no, it's just like, but it shows how much research that Oda.
No, that is
actually,
really cool that he actually does like actual detailed drawings about how flintlocks work.
Yeah, no, like he'll show like.
Actually, I'm gonna be real. I didn't know how flintlocks worked until I saw this.
Yeah, no, it's like it's interesting because it's like Oda will like occasionally like answer questions like this, and he's like, oh yeah, this is all like these details of pirates and whatnot.
It makes sense that they actually have flint in them. I just never really thought too hard on why it's called the flintlock.
Yeah, no, it's let's see. This one's just a kind of joke on like.
I have wine in my house, so I wondered what country is from. I noticed in the back when I saw the words "dry," "full body" is a bit of surprise. Is this the origin of full body sentence? The Iron Fist name. It is, isn't it? If it isn't, I think my life might be over. It is not over. You are right. I really don't drink much wine, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But I've learned that the strength of and heaviness of the taste is called body, and wine, heavy wine, long fermentation. That's a full body, and as it gets lighter, it goes to medium body, then light body. Thus, my explanation of Lieutenant Full Body's name is complete. Thank you very much.
But yeah, I know. I do like that. Like even like for things like this, it's like it's like from wine, you know.
Yeah.
Like wine strength, this and whatnot. Let's see.
Which one? Oh,
here we go.
Red leg said eat his red leg, and that's where the kick power lies. So he couldn't eat left one. So bzzz around the basic kick string. It's actually the pivoting leg. For instance, if you were to try to kick a ball with your right leg, what would happen if you didn't have a left leg? Good, kick it right. So why don't you go ask your soccer playing friends? The life of the kick is contained in the leg that supports you. Wait, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's also like interesting that like even like for small things like this, like which leg that Zep actually ate is like considered
actually important.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think that's about it for this one, and then let's see. Okay, so finally, I have the official introduction of Oda's secret character that he hides in, like, nearly about every single one of his chapters.
The Panda Guy?
Panda Man.
Panda Man, nice.
Yeah, it's just, so, like, the guy sent in, like a whole bunch of, like, things where he's like, oh, I found Panda Man here and here and whatnot, and it's, like, it's pretty interesting that, like,
nice.
Also, there's, he gives like some answer on like fishman
anatomy. Are still mammals. They give birth the way humans do. There are fish women too, huh? I mean, I guess that makes sense. He's actually got the height. Oh, great. Yeah. They're in metric. Great. I do not believe that they're all the same height. I always think Luffy is much smaller than them.
I mean, that's why he says pretty much. There is a bit of a difference. Like, Luffy is shorter than Sanji and Zoro.
Obviously.
But he's like about the same height as Usopp, but he's taller than Nami, you know?
Yeah.
Here's like a little bit of an explanation of like Hachan's name and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like from a Chinese like naming scheme, apparently. Let's see. Okay, I find this one just a little funny. This character right here. This one right here.
I ain't no character. Oda Sensei is my favorite character. I ain't no character.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there let's see. Is there anything? Oh, he gave an explanation for how Sanji is able to make his cigarette smoke into like heart shapes.
When Sanji thinks about a girl, the smoke from a cigarette turns into a heart shape. How does he do it? I want to try too. Please, 100 times 100, tell me. First of all, you have to be over 20 years old. Then light your cigarette and take a big drag. When you do that, the smoke will come out and come in contact with the feeling of love you put in your lungs beforehand. Then when you blow the smoke out, it most surely will come out in the shape of a heart.
I do find that pretty funny. Like he'll just give like some pretty funny like answers sometimes. Oh, there we go.
I have a question. Does Usopp have bones in his nose? Because I've seen it bend many times now. Well, I've never seen that. How could this most possibly bend? It's a ridiculous thing. Whoa, it does bend. The SPS is over.
But yeah, that's about it for the questions. But yeah, sometimes they're just like fun little things. Sometimes you'll actually get a lot more like revelations from them and whatnot. Yeah. But I always like want to just make sure that we go over them because I mean you miss things like the D question. You know, like why does Monkey D. Luffy have the D in his name?
Question that is still unanswered to this day.
Yes it is. We have somewhat of a hint of an answer, but I'm not going to divulge that to you.
Is it a spoiler?
I mean, considering that we literally just learned about it in the most recent chapter, yes.
Is it a big spoiler?
I mean, even then, it's no confirmation of what it is. We just know that it deals with some very specific things to the One Piece world in the past.
Fair enough.
But anyways, that about wraps it up. Any final thoughts or anything? Or
No, I think I'm good.
I'm good.
Alright, cool. Then thank you all so much for watching. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back next time with another episode or whatever we get around to watching this time.
Yep, and also eventually dealing with Logtown for One Piece.
Yes.
When that'll be, don't know.
Bye-bye.
But anyways, see you next time.
Bye.